Oh. Okay, let's see if we're up and running. I know it's a few minutes early, but hi. We had power going on and off all day today, so I kept getting knocked off of the whatchamacallit, the internet. So let's see if I can turn that off. We can actually start the show early. That wouldn't be bad, as long as you can hear me. Let's see, we have anybody in here? I can't even tell. Okay, whatever. So we'll start the show early. Hey, it's Friday in June, of all things. Friday in June. June. I see the microphone is going back and forth. That camera wants to turn the microphone off. Let's see, anybody else want to turn it off? No, that one is fine. That one is fine. That one is fine. That one is fine. Okay, so we're doing good. So if anything pops up or happens, you guys make sure you let me know, because I had to shut everything off, even the printer. All the cameras, I unplugged them. We were getting lightning like crazy. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, the bar is showing that I'm tipping right into the yellow. So that should be just fine. Not this mic. This mic, well, if I turn it on, it should work. Hello, darling. Oh, hello, darling. Obviously, that is my singing mic. So, okay, here we go. So I don't think that any of the cameras are muted. And what the problem was that I was just doing some searching just on the internet. David Osler was on from Australia, and I kept getting knocked off saying you don't have internet. Then finally the power went out. Aha! You said the deaf man to his blind wife, so no, said the blind man to his deaf wife, something like that. So this was like 9:30, 9:40. So I decided the best thing to do is, since I'm on the AT&T system, would be to just reboot the modem. So I went to I have a modem closet, so I rebooted the modem, the whole shebang, the modem. And all this is because there's no R7 in the house. When are they going to send me my R7? The Canon R7. Yeah, we had a nice week this week, didn't we? A really nice week. We had Fuji with the XH2S, and that camera looks like it's an awesome camera. And of course the Canon R7 and all that kind of good stuff. And so I'm kind of really interested in that one. So as far as the storm, we had a storm in the Gulf of Mexico that just came across the southern tip of the Florida penis, which is down here. Peter, did you really just say that? It's a word, it's a body part, there's nothing wrong with it. So the storm just came right through Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and all that kind of good stuff, and it just wasn't much. I mean, we're used to hurricanes where you huff and you puff and you blow the house down, And so it wasn't that much of a big deal at all. But dang, the lightning was just knocking things crazy. The power went off at least 5 times in the last 5 hours. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit. Probably it was 10 times. But some nice cold water with ice cubes, a pinch of salt, and some ACV. Do you know what ACV is? Okay, so I see you guys have been commenting. Let's see what you've been saying. I'll just let you know this much. If I get knocked off the air, there's not much I can do. So I'll say good night now. Okay. So the first guy in is Sammy, Bo Sammy, Banana Nana, Fo Sammy, V5, Fo Sammy, Sammy Superstar. There he is, right there. Sammy is in the house with me tonight. Okay, it's 10 o'clock, so the show has started. Welcome. It's June. This would be, if the year was divided into 2 parts, this would be the December of the half of the year. And then we start with July 1st, climbing the next 6 months. So who would have thought that everybody is a half a year older? It just is like crazy. So Scotty's saying hello. Let's get together. Yeah. Let's get in line for the pizza buffet in Peter's Kitchen. Ooh, bring your own bourbon. No, bring your own baby bottle. No, bring your own, I need something else. Bacon. Bring your own bacon. No, gosh, I wonder what Scotty meant. So, Scott is asking, do you have any idea when you might have a Canon R7 in the Christmas room? I don't think I'm going to be high on the list of priorities. The camera's coming out, in the 3rd week of June, this month. Yay, I forgot we moved over into a new month. So it'll be, if everything works according to schedule, okay? Because you could have a bloop that happens. The world is kind of like a little unsituated. So in tandems, and the United States is a little bit in tandems and having problems. So if all goes well, the camera should be released to the public in the 3rd week of June. Okay, so if you give them a week or 2 to get everything settled down, for my July request, if it gets answered, all right, because you never know when B&H might have a change in policy or something, maybe I will request it for July, and we'll see what happens. But it's a camera that if I can swing it, wing it, ding it, okay, I think I'd like to own that camera, personally, because I don't have any camera to work with my lenses. So Sammy is saying hi to everybody. Great to see everyone. Good to see you, Sam. You look wonderful, Sam. I love you, dude. So here's Shane in the blues. You're coming to Florida in June, right? I think. We'll have to see if we can hook up. Actually, this week, I haven't heard or connected with Charles. He was supposed to come down. But with the storm, I kind of expected that. And tomorrow I have to go and help with some leaks at one of my friend's house. I will be staying on the ground. I don't do the ladders anymore. But whatever help I can do, I will be doing. So I should be out most of the day tomorrow. And I don't know if we're going to my brother's house tomorrow night, which I usually go for dinner and a movie on Saturday nights. And with the storm, I don't know. Plus, I might be tired. I don't know what I'm going to do on the ground at my friend's house. So, yeah, it's leaking water. I can attest to that. Okay. I might have to work the mop in the pail. Okay, so they got some pretty good leaks in their roofs from the weather. South Florida's having some weather. You guys you're around from the country. Anybody else I'm just kind of self-centered here for a second and telling you all about my weather. Anybody else having some severe weather out there. I'd like to hear and know what's going on. So Henry's saying, hey, Peter, good to hear from you. Let's see. Sammy has got a question. Q. Will you keep the Sonys if you buy a new Canon camera? All right, so that question confuses me a little bit. If I add the Canon, why do you think I'm getting rid of something? There's only 3 cameras in here now, and I'm usually running 4 cameras, so I'm actually short a camera. Because remember, I sold the A7S Mark III. I got a little apple cider vinegar in here, just like a half a tablespoon. Tablespoon is 3 teaspoons, so 1.5 teaspoons. I don't know how I figured that out. And I should have put a little sugar in here, and it would have tasted kind of almost like a weird, what they call a Long Island iced tea. So, Sammy, how about if I just answer your question? And Sammy said, will you keep the Sonys if you buy, more than 1 camera? Well, I don't think I'm going to go down to 1 camera. I do like to have an assortment. And since I do have a Sony, I have a Nikon, which you're seeing right now, which is the up in the corner of the roof. And this is my Nikon Z6, which I took pictures with it this week a little bit. What a sweet camera. I can only imagine what the newer one had. I wish it had the flippy screen on it, but maybe Nikon will start doing that since they're the odd man out now. You know, and Nikon usually will follow Canon. So Canon's putting the flippy screens. The R7 has a flippy screen, and I think the R10. But the R10 really isn't much of a camera for this group that we have here. You guys are not the kind that's going to buy a Rebel. If it was back in the film days, you'd buy something just a little bit better. So Jim is here. Hey Jimmy, what you doing out there? No, out there, up there. He's farther north from me. Good evening, y'all. How you doing, Jim? It's so good to see you. And Carlos is saying, hi, Christmas room. How you doing, Carlos? I love you, dude. I did watch your show, obviously, with the weekend and Sundays. Sometimes I get tied up. And Motivated Minds, which is Carlos. He's a friend of mine, which means he's also a friend of yours too. Okay, has a live show on Sunday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, where he will put you on the couch and he will psychoanalyze you. So anyway, he runs it live. And of course, just like this show or any other show, you could play the stuff back and replay it at any time that you want. So I do recommend him. So Shane is in Florida now. Shane, do you have my phone number? Give me a call. Well, not right now. I'm kind of like doing a live show. Let's catch up. We're in the same state. We should have no problem with the phones, unless your phone is tracking through Australia and then coming back here, because I did call you once and it was like, what, $40? So we kind of have stuck to FaceTime. It's a lot cheaper. You can make audio calls on FaceTime. You can make video calls on FaceTime. So I don't know if he's able to do that. But if you can, I'd like you to be able to give me a ring. Ring, ring, ring. So, okay, so we're at the end. So now you could, if you've got comments or questions, what did you eat? Norm, are you driving the kids home? Who else? Jim is here. Charles, are you in town? Are you driving? Randy, wake up. Wake up, Randy. Wake up. It's time to get up. Time to get up. What happens is Randy works. He's just a year or two younger than me, and I'm 68. I think I'll be 69 in October. He works full-time, and he does overtime. So when he comes home, he's tired. He has endless, boundless energy, okay? But he gets home and he's got his pets. He's got Dusty, he's got Wanda, he's got Buddy, and they all pile up on him. He might even have more that I'm not aware of. Okay, and he's got his up in age mom to take care of too, although she's not in town. All right, so actually, you know, but that's still a worry. So he comes home, he makes dinner, he feeds the 2 dogs, and he feeds Dusty, which is a beautiful gray cat. This is, we're talking about Randy. And then he relaxes and he sits in the chair and he yawns and he goes, "Oh, I feel so good." And finally he tries to eat something and then he falls asleep. And then for a while I used to wonder, hey, what's wrong with him? Something's got to be wrong. I see you out of the E10. Now they're starting the E6400 back up into production. They really should have the E10 going back in. That camera is a knockout. Right, Sammy's? I think Sammy's got the E10. It's so hard to beat that camera. So, Lewis is here, Mr. Camera Junkies, on tomorrow night at 11. I have to remember everybody's times. So tomorrow night, Mr. Camera Junkie will be live. And I don't know if Shane's going to do anything live from Florida, but we'll find out. Maybe the storm, which is basically a very heavy rain, and the dangerous part is not the winds. He just got a new SIM card today. Oh, okay, cool. So we might be able to have a phone conversation. That'd be nice. Minimum while you're here, right? And then maximum is maybe you can come by the house and maybe we can record a little something. But I'm not pushing you because I know you've got a full schedule. It's hard to intervene and bother people with their schedules. So I try to relax and let things flow. Jim Monday is saying that Carlos's Sunday shows, the Sunday night shows, are amazing. The last Sunday was really good. Yes, the last Sunday was really good. But he's a professional, licensed, functioning psychologist. We're talking about Motivated Minds. The first, after under Jim Monday, it says Motivated Minds. So that's Sunday night. So it isn't like a fun gathering like we have here. And by saying that, I didn't mean it's not fun, okay? I meant it's targeted. He plans it out. He's got slides. He's got thoughts. He shares them with you. He wants you to cooperate with those thoughts and, actually possibly make a difference in your life. So I see a few of us from the Peter Gregg live show go in and meet him when I'm here. I definitely tune in. I think Lewis, Mr. Camera Junkie, goes in. Jim Monday, I've seen him in there. I've seen Louis Lazuka in there. So we do get some people. Did I see Randy? He got, I don't know if he got in there or not. So Shane, who's got his channel, which is In the Blues, we'll be catching up, Peter. We are heading through Miami in about 8 days. So good. That'll clear out the weather, okay? I'll give you a call as soon as possible. So Shane is fun to talk to. You guys obviously don't get to talk to him on the phone, but we have a really good time. He's got a really nice girlfriend, and his guitar playing is amazingly good. He specializes in a blues style, but he comes in with lots of guitars, but lots of pedals and stuff like that, but in the blues, where you got Aaron Short, and Aaron Short is also a gig player. So these people are playing professionally. They're not at my level, okay? Doing, twang, twang, twang. Okay, so it's that type of a pro level. I don't know why these guys bother with me. I'm not on their level, but I'm grateful. I love friends, and I've got some of the best friends in the world. Okay, so I'll be getting a call from Shane, and Carlos is saying thank you to Jim. And Jim, this is Jim Monday, the Jim I was talking about. Sly goes in there, so she gets psychoanalyzed also. And Alex says that Fujifilm has a new camera out. No, you don't say. They have a new camera out? Well, maybe you just joined. I did start talking about a little bit about the XH something S. Oh, H2S. These people really have to get into, they need to hire somebody to teach them how to name a camera. The Thunderbird 104, 105, or 10.1, you know, something where you can actually get a little marketing grip, you know, like tires. You buy different kinds of tires depending on your type of driving. And the whole purpose of driving is to get that the rubber meets the road and you get grip. So if you want to drive hard, today I think they call it shredding, but that's not my age group for talking. You're not going to put a Michelin P tire on there, okay? You're going to put some tires on there designed for gripping. And the same thing for pictures. If you want to take nice portraits and landscapes and stills and you want to do some printing of these pictures where you can you know, refine a particular one that you home in on, and your photograph becomes more and more important to you, and actually it could become a wall print. I got wall prints all over my house, okay? So making pictures and putting them up on the wall is a very nice hobby, and it's very satisfying too. So something like the Fuji X-H2S would be remarkable because it really puts out a really nice picture, and it's great for printing. Now, I've been waiting and waiting for Fuji to do better with the focus, the autofocus on the video side. And I was excited about the X-H2S, and then suddenly I saw two people that were not so happy with the focus in video, and that kind of disappointed me. I am going to try to get the camera in here, and I'm going to find out for myself. So for here, the camera has to do not much. It's going to go on a tripod. I got 3 of them in the front facing me right now, and I'll walk to the back, make sure the lights are on, watch it if it's able to capture my body walking back and forth, or if it just goes off the track, and then I walk back up. So that's not much movement. It's not like I'm doing a football player, a soccer player, or some boys out playing baseball or skateboarding, okay? But what I do have is Christmas lights, and the Christmas lights can fool a focus system because they are sharp points of light, and sharp points of light like on the tree. So now watch as I back up. Don't watch my face. Look at the focus on the tree, okay, as I back up, as long as I don't trip. You see how the light is getting sharper and sharper and sharper as I come back? Okay, so that focus was smooth. It didn't do any jumping, any jerking. It was set it and forget it. Now I know you can hear me, but that camera is aimed over there at the piano. See my hand? I'm not in front of the piano. I'm in front of the tree back here. Okay, so the cameras are automatic. They switch according to the times that I have them set up. Now, look at the lights on the tree. Don't watch my face, because you could miss my face, but you won't see it. Okay, because the pictures are coming pretty good. But any kind of a movement, those lights will breathe in and out. And that's what the Fuji did. I'm talking about the X-T4 with probably not the best lens in the world, okay? Now they got a new camera and they've got a new line of lenses. Okay, so now this camera is over there, the other one's over here. Now I'm going to walk back up, watch the Christmas lights, look at the tree, see the light is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and now I'm taking a quick look over at the monitor. You see the difference? Now you see the roundness in the light bulbs? Okay, that's the true meaning of bokeh. Okay, the word has actually come up with a new definition because people are kind of just making it their own definition. But the true meaning of bokeh is look at the roundness on the tree, the lights. So those are called specular lights. Now that roundness could actually show edges, okay? And that would mean how many blades are in the shutter, okay, not the shutter, the aperture of a lens. Or they could be oval, they could have different shapes. So a perfectly round ball, okay, so I'm going to go back to the tree again. It'll come back to me. The cameras are going to revolve. So if I'm not in like now, I'd have to come over here and step in front of the piano to be seen, okay? So if I come over here, all right, now the light is a point. And you can't see any bokeh now, all right, because the distance from me and the tree is not that great. Now, if I take one step forward, the light will take on a little bit of a blur. Not tremendously, but a tiny bit, okay? Now, this camera is over here. Hello, all right? So that one, these cameras are designed for me to stand at the desk. So I understand I'm not at the desk right now. I'm going to fly away, all right? So now, as I come back up again, watch the Christmas tree lights. That's what you look at when you're looking at lenses and they're going like pop in, pop out and all that. Find a sharp point of light in the background. That is going to tell you the story, and that's going to help you understand what you're looking for, because there's a lot of YouTubers out there that do reviews on cameras, and they're trying to show you what happens with the focusing, like on this camera. Okay, so the point is, I would say most people don't know what they're really looking for. That, you know, they're going, well, yeah, you know, the guy's face is in focus and it's solid, and okay, so it focuses well. Okay, now Panasonic is a good example of over-exaggerated poor focusing. So, and the reason that that happens on a Panasonic type system is not because it has a bad focus system. It has a bad focus system for me. I don't like it, okay, because I can't trust it. So you actually see the person coming in and out of focus, all right? So like if I put my hand up, can you tell that my hand is in focus? Okay, see how it's sharper and my face is a little fuzzy? And then if I take my hand away, the camera will come back to me. And when it comes back to me, it stays put, all right? Now, the Panasonic doesn't stay put, and there's a reason for it. So before people start, and they should, because they could fix it, but they don't want to, okay? But the reason it doesn't stay put on a Panasonic focus system is because just like this camera will check focus, but you don't know that it's doing that. It's checking focus. This is the Nikon Z6, okay? The Sony will check focus. The Nikon, all of them that I have here will check focus, but you'll never see it happening. And there's a reason for that. It's using phase detection focus. So phase detection focus doesn't have to do comparisons. It just looks and says it's in focus. Nobody move, okay? So the same thing with this one. It's a phase detection focus system, all right? And when we get to the Nikon ZFC, it's a phase detection focus system. So a phase detection focus system will check to see if I'm in focus, but it won't make that move until it determines I'm out of focus. So if I take a step back, all right, it's able to follow me, my eyes, look at my eyes, okay? It stays in focus. The same thing with this camera. I can come up forward, I can lean in, I can lean out, and I'm looking at the monitor just to see what I'm doing, okay? And it will actually stay in focus because it's using phase detection. So Panasonic doesn't use that at all. They don't use phase detection. Canon uses phase detection, okay? They do it a different way. It's called dual pixel autofocus. So dual pixel autofocus on the Canon system, the definition is very simple. The actual pixel actually does two things, and that's where we get the word dual. Dual pixel autofocus. So it's using the same pixel. It's not split pixel autofocus, which I have seen so many people define it that the pixel is cut in half, okay? And it uses half of the pixel to focus and the other half to do the light gathering. No, whoever's telling you that, okay, They're not understanding. I could use a better choice of words. All right. So right now, the Sony E10 is using a certain area to focus on me, and now the Z6, all right, because it's got face detection. So in this area, the camera has decided that it's going to focus on my face. That's why it's called face detection. Now you got new stuff. You got animal detection. You got bicycle detection. The new R7 has got snake detection, animal detection, bicycle detection, motorcycle detection, and all these things are programmed into it, okay? But doesn't matter what kind of detection it's doing, it's actually using certain pixels to focus with, all right? Now, those pixels are fixed everywhere on this sensor that you're looking at right now. And on every camera that we've got, okay, running, it's actually got pixels buried in the whatchamacallit. It's got pixels buried into the sensor, all right? So this is the ZFC. Same thing with the ZFC. It's got face detection on, all right? So Alex says the ZFC has not been performing too good. Is that a general statement, or is that tonight? Or is it what you saw last week where I actually messed the camera up by touching when I shouldn't be touching? So tonight I haven't seen it go out of focus. But let's stick on the topic that we're talking about, okay? So the difference between the Canon dual pixel autofocus and everybody else, okay, is Canon doesn't have embedded focus points. None. But it does have the ability to use a pixel to focus with it. And it will call on that pixel to just go full-time focusing. But only in the area where the focus is. So you see this area? Right now, this Nikon has got focus points embedded all over the sensor. So if this was a Canon, it would only activate the focus points that are around my face, where the face is, and turn all the other pixels back to only absorbing light. So as I walk across, like left to right, okay, in this camera too, all the focusing pixels are they're embedded onto the sensor. Now on the Canon would be turning on and off pixels as I rock. As I go to this side, suddenly the pixels in this area are being used to focus, whichever ones they determined. I don't know what their algorithm is. And all the rest are light gathering. Okay? Now, the same thing with this. It recognizes my face, and it's got pixels all over that sensor. And all over that sensor, it's actually picking out my face and focusing. So, what's the advantage? The advantage is on the Canon, it's turning the pixels that are not being used for focus off from its focusing duties and making them go back to light gathering. So you actually have less chance of banding. All right? That doesn't mean you can't get banding for other reasons. I'm not going to get into that. So that's what the dual pixel autofocus is actually happening, okay? So that's why it's better. Now you've got another thing that's coming out, like on the new Fuji X-H2S. It has backside illumination, and it's a stacked sensor. Okay, how many people know what that means? All right, I've asked 3 people this week, and because we're friends, and they know I'm not there to intimidate them or make fun of them, all 3 have 3 different levels. One is a professional, one is a very highly professional YouTuber, one is a professional photographer, and one is kind of like most of us in this room. We're above hobbyists. We know about cameras, okay? So let's see. I just want to make sure I'm broadcasting because, like I said, my internet has been going up and down. So let's see. What's the definition of a backside illuminated sensor, and what's the definition of a stacked sensor? Okay, so I'm not going to make fun of anybody here that doesn't know. As a matter of fact, I'm going to explain it. So everybody in our little group is going to understand it, okay? So it's really, really, really very simple. Everybody knows what a negative is, right? I'm assuming. Okay, so that's, if you have a 35 millimeter negative, it's a film. It's a piece of film. It's a transparency. Okay, so a film transparency is they take a piece of clear plastic, a transparency, they shake it with like a salt shaker. Okay, it's not salt. And those are light absorbing salts. And then they coat it. And then you get one shot and it exposes it, and you develop it, and it's done. Okay, so the sensor inside the camera in here is very much like that, but instead of having a piece of transparency with some salt on it and good for one shot, there's pixels in here, and they get used over and over and over. So it's the same theory as film, except the salt that are light sensitive, and the emulsification as they call it, okay, is continuous on the digital cameras. All right, so all of those pixels are on like a same piece of transparency, okay, and that's called a sensor. Now you've got all these pixels. All right, well, what are you going to do with them? They got to be connected to something, and there's got to be an electrical charge that happens. Okay, so far it's very simple. So you've got to have a pixel. Let's think about one pixel needs a wire coming to it that's going to charge it, and then you need a wire coming out of the individual pixel, all right, and that tells the electronics what happened on that pixel. And you do that if you've got a 10 megapixel or a 20 megapixel or a 40 megapixel. That's how many millions of pixels you have on there. So there's wires that go to every single pixel, one at a time. Okay, so if you have pixel A here and pixel B here, now obviously they're a lot closer, all right, so the wire goes in here, and then it goes over to the next pixel, it goes in there, goes to the next pixel, goes in there, and then there's the wire that comes out of that first pixel is connected to the second pixel, and all of these wires are microscopically, you ever see how they make it? There's a machine that goes okay, there's so many microscopic stuff happening there. All right, so all of these pixels are tied in together. The electrical current is sent through it, it comes out of it, and then you have the electronics that actually puts and makes sense out of everything that happened. All right, so I explained all of that the kind of the long way. All right, sorry, but that's the way I am, full of hot air. All right, now if you take all that wiring that's on that waffle, you know, wafer, whatever you want to call it, and you put it behind the sensor. So you've got a front and you got a back. So up until recently, all the wiring and the pixels are all on the sensor. And they go one after the other, and they actually go line by line, okay? Now, you take all that wiring out, and you've got dead pixels again. But put the wiring on the back side, okay? And now the wire goes through the wafer, connects to the pixel, and then comes out again to the back. So all the wiring is on the back, and they call that back-sided illuminated, because the pixel doesn't turn on until it gets power. When it gets turned on, we would call it turned on. Okay, when these scientists call it turned on, they call it's illuminated. The pixel's hot, it's active, it's in action. So you've got backside illuminated. So the advantage of backside illuminated is you've taken all the little miniature microscopic wiring that's all over your sensor and taken it off of the face of the sensor. Okay, so the sensor, the pixel actually does get warmer. All right, so now the wiring is on the back, all right, and all the electricity that goes to the back, all right, comes off, and then the electronics deal with all that information. All right, so that's what back-sided illuminated means. It means there's no wiring on the face. That actually means your pixels can actually get closer, because you don't have to connect this pixel with its neighbor. Okay, so it actually, you can make the pixel bigger, or you can keep them the same size and make them closer, and that's how you get much more pixels onto a wafer and not degrade in the quality. All right, now stacked. What does stacked mean? Okay, so far you've got a single wafer with a front and a back. Actually, I did it backwards. You got a front and a back. So the wiring is on the back, and all the light sensitive pixels are on the front. Now that's backside illuminated. Okay, now you take this controller that's controlling all of these pixels, okay, and you put them on another wafer, 2. Okay, so now you've got this wafer, and it's got all the pixels here, regardless of whether it's backside illuminated or not. Okay, and then you have a second wafer behind it, and you sandwich the two together, like laminated glass, where you get 2 pieces of glasses and they sandwich together. Okay, so that is stacked, like pancakes. It's a double stack. You know, well, that's quarter pounder with cheese. All right, you've got a short stack and a full stack of pancakes. So now you've got the controlling mechanisms, the electronics, on a separate wafer. You've got your pixels on this wafer. So you could actually have one that's not backside illuminated and still have a stacked sensor. So the control board is on the second wafer, but the two of them are sandwiched together, and that makes up what's called the sensor. So that type is called a stacked sensor. Okay, so all of this increases the speed mightily. Imagine me using that word, mightily. And that means as we have this kind of movement, you can actually get rid of what's called rolling shutter, almost to where it's gone or where you don't even see it. Okay, so now the new Fuji is backside illuminated, so it's got the pixels, the wires. There's a second wafer that's got all the controlling electronics. They sandwich it together, maybe in a heat press, I don't know, I wasn't there to see how, and it becomes one piece. So now this sensor is called a stacked sensor. Now the stacked sensor can be backside illuminated, or it might not be. But every step where you've got a shorter electrical highway, you get less of a rolling shutter. So you guys know what rolling shutter is? I'm not going to teach you. That's where it bends, okay, because you're moving the camera back and forth, and the electronics just basically can't keep up with it. So it actually has got like a little bit of a delay, and it looks like I'm bending, okay? So this guy here, the Z6, I don't think is backside illuminated. I'm not sure. I know it's not double stacked. All right, so that's the newest technology. So now we've had our little baby lesson. So now when you know, all these people that act like they're the biggest geniuses in the world, they say, well, it's a you know, backside, it's a BSI and it's double stacked. Wow, I sound so smart, right? And you're going like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, well now you do. Okay. I assume there's no questions on that, right? If there is, hit me with them. Okay, so Sammy, oh, Jim was saying that's a good demonstration of smooth focusing. Also, all this stuff that happens faster makes for the focusing smoother. Now, Panasonic has been doing all that, okay? Except the stupid thing is, I put a gun in their hand, they'll shoot their toe off. All right, they won't put the proper focusing system in that would control all this crap that's going on. So you can place the blame wherever you want. That's up to you. So Sammy's saying, I don't. Tell me more. He's probably referring to the explanation I just gave. Hey Matt, how you doing? Love you, buddy. Hi Peter, learning new things about dual pixel BSI from you. Well, that's right. We learned 3 things. What a double stack sensor is, what a BSI backside illuminated, that's what BSI stands for, sensor is. And we also learned that dual pixel autofocus means their sensor, regardless of the system, turns on focus areas and the pixels are dual purpose. They're either gathering light or a certain assigned sensors are actually being used for autofocus. That's what dual pixel autofocus is. So the Sony right there, all the focus points will always be focus points and nothing else. If that was a Canon camera, all the focus points that are not being used as focus points revert back to being used as light gathering. So now that's what dual pixel autofocus is. All right, so I didn't mean to do an information dump on you, but that's not too hard to understand, is it? If it is, okay, then, okay, I'll explain it better. Just let me know. So I was giving my love to Matt. How you doing, Matt? So he's learning. And Scott is going, my pixels getting all riled up, as you described, all this backside stuff. Oy vey, oy vey. Are they getting excited? Well, the ones in the Canon camera, they could get excited and get turned off and get turned off too. Turned on and turned off. I meant to say that. Okay. So I just had another thought, so I'm going to blurt out something else. All right. So there's people that have negative things to say about everything, right? You've run across people that, you know, here's $5. Oh, it's got to be fake. It's not from the United States. I mean, it's just something negative to say about everything. Okay. So the pixels that are here, that are being used for focus, they never gather light. They always get used for focus. And the only one that changes that is Canon's dual pixel autofocus. So the naysayers, they will go like, yeah, that means you've got 1 million holes or whatever. If you got 400 focus points, and out of those like 23 million megapixels, you have 200 or 400 or whatever it is that got little black holes. In the old days, we used to map those out, but the camera already does that automatically. Okay, so they'll say, yeah, but it degrades your quality, and then those people that are all behind Panasonic will go like, oh yeah, that's why the Panasonic cameras chose not to put any of the what is it called, the focusing system pixels in there, because all the pixels on the Panasonic camera, all of them smoothly give you light gathering capabilities. Well, in the old days, they used to map out the bad pixels, and the algorithm that's running all this crap would overlook those, and it would make it disappear. Okay, so it's not a good argument, is what I wanted to tell you. Okay, thank you. Carlos is going, thank you. Really great information. Thanks for educating some of us, Peter. I like your new spot, by the way. If you're not following Carlos, who's Motivated Minds is the name of his channel. So the red words is the name of his channel. If you want to go see a channel based on psychology. So Carlos has moved his location to, I don't remember, was it an office, a dedicated office, or off-site? I'm sure you explained it. There's too much stuff to remember. So anyway, the new place looks good. I didn't really look at it in a critical fashion to give you much feedback, but I did notice it was a different set. Okay, so Alex says that, oh, my Z6, which will be up in a moment, definitely is backside illuminated. So you're sure about that, right? So this camera, they don't even make it anymore, and I have very little complaints. If you want to get into a high quality camera, everybody except Lizuka, okay, Lizuka, this doesn't apply to you, okay? You could look for one of these guys used, or even gray market, and for a much lower price, you would be getting, like, for the price of a 90D, you would be getting a flagship Z6, and it even just got better. Okay. Matt says, all this waffle sandwich pancakes makes me hungry. You notice how I deal with food? Oh, I lost another pound this week, but I like to channel hop, as they say, topic hop. So I am, thinking of pancakes. I will figure out how to make a low-carb keto pancake, because I like pancakes. And, even in the days when I wasn't doing the keto, I actually didn't put much syrup or any. I love it drenched in butter, like the Kerrygold butter. Oh my God, how wonderful that is. So I'm not missing the syrup, I'm missing the pancake and the butter. So I can have the butter, but I tried it. And it tastes like butter. I want a pancake underneath my butter. Okay, so Scott is missing some people. So Matt, you were using these words when you were explaining about sensors. Yeah. So that is, that we can call that our little bit of lesson for tonight. Now, is anybody doing any kind of an eating regimen with me? You could be doing it to actually lose weight, which is the benefit for me, a side benefit, I should say. The real benefit for me is I want to lower my sugar levels. I don't want to have to start taking metformin or whatever it's called. That's the name of the pill that they put you on if your sugar is high and you're right before needing shots in your butt or wherever else you give the shots for diabetics. That's called pre-diabetes. So I gotten myself into pre-diabetes. I eat a lot of sugar. It's cookies and candies and ice cream and M&Ms and the cookies that I make. It's like my sugar up. Okay. So I knew I was going for a physical. So I figured, how do I lower my sugar? So I looked it up, and low carb is one name for it. Keto is another name for it. Then you've got the carnivore. These are all type of eating. Okay, so what that type of eating entails, just to give you, just like the wafers and the double stacked and the pancakes and all that with the sensors, let's go to the body. Okay, so this body with this nice big, let's back up so you can see my nice big fat belly. Okay, it takes energy, it takes fuel. The body takes fuel. That's not hard to understand. You put into this hole, it digests, it takes the fuel, and it comes out another hole. It's a little bit lower. Okay, so you got a top end and a bottom end. All right. So what the bodies work on in the United States, and I would say most of the world that has grocery stores, is carbohydrates. Okay, carbohydrates is a form of sugar in a water base. That's where you get hydrate, carbohydrate, okay? So that's the standard American diet. So I put a donut in my mouth, plenty of sugar. I put pancakes in my mouth, plenty of sugar. I make toast with strawberry jelly, and sometimes I'll put a piece of yellow cheese, American cheese on it. All that is sugar. The body sees it and it goes, we got fuel. Okay, let's go. And that's why you have a sugar rush, or you have a sugar when it lets you down. And then what do? You automatically, your body is training your mind to you look for more sugar. And that's the standard American diet. Everything is refined in some fashion. You're never going out in the backyard and getting a tomato and eating it, I can tell you that, okay? So that's the standard American diet. So now, in order to make this body will run on two things naturally. There's no software uploads, okay? The brain knows what it's doing. So, and it has a very strong protective mode, okay? So I need to change the body to start burning fat and not burn sugar for fuel. Okay, if we're going to go into the boxing ring for a few rounds, I need some fuel. Okay, and you see what some guys eat before, so lots of spaghetti and stuff before they go out, a big, huge, heavy meal. Okay, now in order to get my body to stop using the damn sugar, I have to stop giving it sugar. So sugar comes in what's called carbohydrates. One carbohydrate is one sugar. It's a measured amount. All right. So because I'm on a stricter version of this diet, I'm allowed 20 of the carbohydrates a day. So go look at anything in your refrigerator and don't look at where it says sugars. Look where it says carbohydrates. Because your liver, where's my liver? Wait, let me think. Okay. My liver is right here. Okay. My liver is right here, okay? Gallbladder underneath it. I don't know, there's not much over on this side. All right, so you got your liver, you got your pancreas, you got your gallbladder. If I go down lower into the little private areas, you got an appendix, which can also cause you problems. All right, so that's on the right side. All right, so the sugars or the fuel you put into your body triggers the liver to do crap. I don't mean crap like poop. I mean it responds. And that's called insulin, okay? So it keeps making insulin, and your body keeps receiving this insulin, and the cells use the insulin to burn what it's supposed to burn. All right. Now, when I'm constantly battering my body with sugar cookies, all kinds of sugar, bread. Okay. You look at the carbohydrate count on anything. Go look at a jar of peanut butter. Look at a jar of strawberry jelly. Look at a loaf of bread. Look at if you got sour cream. Look for the word carbohydrates. Okay, the body will use that number of carbohydrates, and the liver is looking for that, and it sends out an appropriate amount of insulin. Okay, so if I'm eating sugar cookies, the liver is recognizing that, and bam, it puts out insulin. And that insulin, it gives my cells the ability to take that sugar and burn it. So I can get into a fight, or I can get into exercise, get on my treadmill, anything, okay? So what I need to do is stop that insulin from getting pumped out for sugar and getting the liver to pump out insulin for fat. So I am actually training my body by having a lot of zero carb or low carb. Okay, so for dinner I got some ground beef and I fried it up. I put the spices that I liked into it, which is what spices did I use? I used onion powder, I used garlic powder, I used some salt and pepper, and what else did I put in there? And I chopped up some onions, okay? So that part, the ground beef, at that point was zero carbs. Now, I like it to be a little bit like a sloppy Joe, so I'd like to put some ragu in there or some Prego or something. But look at the jar. Oh my God, there's so much sugar in that ragu. It's enough where you're gonna shoot it out your butt, okay? So they do make like ragu, they make rau, R-A-U, okay? That's very low, it's very low carbohydrates. And I didn't put much, I put like 3 or 4 tablespoons in all of the ground beef, okay? So I made this really delicious sloppy Joe concoction. All right, now you guys know what romaine lettuce is. So I got a couple of sleeves of romaine lettuce, and I put some American cheese on the bottom. Then I put my sloppy Joe on it. Okay. Then I sliced some very thin tomatoes. I don't want a lot of tomatoes, and I put some tomatoes on it. And then I put another layer of cheese, and then I took another sheet or leaf of romaine lettuce, and I used the romaine lettuce as bread. Then I picked the whole thing up as a sandwich, and when I went like this, a lot of it came out, okay? That's why I had a spoon, and I ate my sandwich. But the romaine lettuce served as the bread, and my sloppy Joe with the cheese. See, the cheese melted, and it kind of held a lot of the meat in place. Oh, and I did put a little mayo on it, okay? So you go and you look at your mayo jar. Got one in the refrigerator? Go and look at it. It's got 1 carb. Great, right? Well, yes, in terms of sugar. However, remember, I'm trying to lose weight for health purposes. All right? So look at the very first ingredient on any mayonnaise that you have in the house, and it will be soybean oil. Soybean oil wallpapers your arteries with plaque. So soybean oil is something I have to watch out for because I'm not looking to lose weight and create a heart attack. Okay? So I want to lose weight and have less plaque. So basically the bottom line is I have to have avocado-based mayonnaise. And it can't say soybean oil, canola oil, vegetable oil in any of the ingredients. You could find one that's called Primal, okay? And that's where I made my sandwich. What a delicious sandwich. I finished it and I wanted more. And did I feel like I was being deprived? Honestly, no, because I would have put lettuce in there anyway. So I didn't miss out on the bread there, and I'm a bread lover. Okay? So you look at the carbohydrate count on anything you're going to pick up. I don't have a jar of any food in here. Those carbohydrates are what's going to signal the liver to put out insulin. If you put out too much insulin over and over, like let's say, who can I see? Louis Azuka's here. Okay, so he's a younger guy. And MDM, Mark, he's a younger guy. All right, so their systems are all running really good right now. I'm 68, in October I'll be 69. So my systems are starting to slow down. Okay, so when your body keeps getting this insulin for year after year after year after year after year, your cells get bored. Oh, well, here comes more insulin. And then you get what's called insulin resistance. So it's not going to happen to MDM Mark in Chicago. I'll get to you in a second, Mark. Oh, I see Louis is here too. Okay. And Louis, all right. They're not going to get insulin resistance, and it could be your body could be more into that and just do it at a much younger age. But chances are those younger guys, Raymond, he's also like 30-something, early 30s, they're not going to get insulin resistance. But now I get fatter and fatter because my body is not recognizing the insulin that the liver is putting out because it's tired of it. And that's called insulin resistance. And when that happens, you need more sugar because the insulin that the liver is putting out is not getting the message into the cells. Now I got insulin resistance going on. Now when I switch over to burning fat instead of sugar, there's a whole new system. And that system is not 68 years old because I've been eating frickin' sugar since I was a baby. Okay? I live in a Greek family. The foods, the baklava with the honey and the, oh my God, all the wonderful sweets, and that's I've been eating all my life. Look at the weight. My body is heavy because I eat sugar, and my system designed to burn the sugar is tired. Now all of a sudden I'm eating beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. That's the stem of my diet, but that's like the introductory phase. It's not how I'm going to eat, okay? I will continue to eat beef, bacon, butter, and eggs, but as I get down my sugar numbers and everything, I will be adding, like I already have, I got the romaine lettuce. Romaine lettuce, if you haven't tried it, is nutritious. It's low in sugars, and it's stiff. I mean, you could fan somebody with it. So it works as a shelf, you know, as a piece of bread. So I can make an egg sandwich and put it in there and put some mayo, and I will use the sheets or the leaves of the romaine lettuce and as a sandwich, okay? So I just saw Meg come in. Meg, I think she's the only girl we have in here tonight. How can I get Carlos to do keto? You look great. Carlos has to want to, okay? Because a bagel with cream cheese and Lux, or Danish, or a donut, you know, or a piece of toast with jam, that's the standard American diet. I mean, to get him to go away from that is trying to get him to start peeing and using his other hand, which don't work. I know you're not a guy, Meg, okay? But when we pee, we got a regular way. It's got to be this hand or nothing, okay? This hand will not do, okay? So in order to get Carlos or anybody, let's say one of the hard cases here is Louis Lazuka, okay? So he can't get away from sugar. So he's going to wind up getting sick. And when Lazuka gets sick, but many years from now, okay, the doctor's going to give him medicines to counterbalance the sickness. And those medicines are going to make him sicker. So if, Motivated Minds. Actually, Meg is his wife, just so you know. If you see Meg, I don't know how, is it Meg Jen? Okay, that's the best I can do. All right. Carlos has to be threatened with an impending illness. Otherwise, none of us, including me, really want to change. I mean, spaghetti and butter and whatever you put on it, cheese. I can have spaghetti with melted cheese and it's so delicious. Or I can have spaghetti with a meat sauce. Oh, how good that is. Or I could have a spaghetti with some of the Greek cheese, cassetti cheese, and you put it under the broiler and it melts all the cheese down into the spaghetti. I'm going to give all that up just so I don't eat sugar? Okay, well, I did. Okay, and that's because I got into the pre-diabetic results on my blood work. So here's a simple test. It might cost you anywhere from $100 to $400, okay? You go and you get from your doctor what they call a CAC calcium scan. So it's basically the donut, like the MRI, which is the tunnel. Well, I can't do that. But they have a donut where your head goes in, and as soon as it goes in, it comes out. All right? So they have a special CAC calcium, and it actually looks to see how much plaque buildup is in your arteries, and they give you a number. That test is designed just for that. All right? So if you're looking at cholesterol, all that is crap. Okay? I have high cholesterol. All right? But that's not important. There's two parts to the cholesterol. Okay? So the LDL and the HDL. I think we've gotten educated to that point. All right, so the LDL is the painter. He's going to paint plaque in your arteries. You get enough plaque, you're going to get a heart attack, okay, or a stroke, because the plaque can get up into the veins that come up into this area, the artery that feeds the brain. All right, but a CAC scan will give you a scale. 0 means you have no plaque. So you want to be as low as possible, like 50, 80, all right? So if you look up Dr. Eric Berg, I mean, he's got people that he's a YouTuber, just so you know, and he's a nutritionist. And if you look him up, you can do a lot of learning before you even start anything. I didn't say tomorrow change your breakfast and don't have your ice cream, but start the learning process so that you can explain it like I'm doing, okay? So that you can understand what's happening. And once you have that understanding, you can start to make some decisions if you want to get involved or you just want to beat everybody else up with what you know, okay? Because some people can go up, like a fat person can go up to another fat person and you can tell them, you should lose weight. And I'm one to say something, okay? So educate yourself. Dr. Eric Berg, if you have to, write the darn thing down. And when you're sitting there in your idle time, start, watching a few of his videos, and you'll get to see how systems work. Now, here's the catch. Don't let it get a hold of you like a grip, okay? Get yourself educated first. So you might make very small adjustments. So let's say you have coffee in the morning, and you fill it with 5 tablespoons of sugar and cream. And because you think you're doing something, you're going to use skim milk. Well, you've just done everything wrong. Okay, so you can still have your coffee. Don't put anything like a creamer in there, nothing powdered, okay? No skim milk, no whole milk, no half and half. You have to use heavy cream or heavy whipping cream, okay? So that actually you've just reduced a big crap load of problems. Now, how about the sugar? Okay, what can you do about sugar? So you're going to have to do a little bit of experimentation. So my solution for the sugar is something called Truvia. All right, I've tried all the other ones. Some of them are actually poison, like Equal, Splenda. That's all really bad for your health. Never mind the sugar levels, okay? They don't have sugar, all right? But it actually bombards some of the organs and will make you sick over a period of time. They're actually poison. So I settled in on something called Truvia. And for me, honest to God, it works just as good as sugar. I don't even feel, not even a touch like I'm being handicapped or punished. So the Truvia, I buy the canister, and I just put 1 or 2 teaspoons in there. Heavy cream. I've got coffee as good, and if not better, than I ever had before, because now I'm using heavy cream. Heavy cream is delicious, okay? So you can only start making those adjustments by actually educating yourself as to what choices are really there, okay? So Lewis is saying that's who I watch. Dr. Berg, he's my hero. Peter, can you please help me? I can't stop making cookies. Can you recommend me baking with some sugar-free sugar? Okay. Now that's an important sentence, because this is where I have my fight, is to get a sugar substitute that I am satisfied with. Okay. So you're going to have to experiment. Start with the Truvia. If you like it, bingo. Okay, at least you got a heads up for me as to what to try. What if you don't like it, Lewis? Okay, so you're going to have to. Now, you said my passion is to make macaroons. Okay, I bet I could spank that out of you. All you need is some pain. All right, so stop making macaroons your passion. It's a poison. It's my passion to make, a poison for people. No. Start putting it in what it is. Making macaroons is a poison. You're making poison for people. And it's so good, it's almost like a sexual response, but instead of the sexual response happening down there, it's happening in your mouth. Okay, I've said many times, if I eat something, oh my God, this is better than sex, it's so good. Okay, well, I made it associated with something that really is good. Okay. And that would be something that we do, that I just said. So, Lewis, this is what you're doing wrong, baby, okay? You're making instant rules. You gotta stop doing that, because it's gonna make you, like the Bible says, you get blown by the wind. One in this direction, and then when the wind changes, you're blown in that direction. That's not healthy for you mentally, okay? For you to get blown around by the wind, Louis Lazuka, okay, is not healthy mentally. Never mind the food that you're eating. So you need to stop making instant rules for yourself. You need to start with an education base. And then when I say, oh, don't eat Splenda because it's a poison, okay, well, I'm not able to explain to you why it's a poison, but Dr. Berg can, okay? And then there's another guy that you'll like as much as Dr. Berg. His name is Thomas Lauer or something like that. But when you see him, he looks built like a Mr. America. I mean, he's got a beautiful body, all right? But the biceps go up and down like Popeye, okay? All right? And he will tell you, you can have this and you can have this, but you can't have this and you can't have that. Now, you start getting all that education down, and this is great for children. Like I know Simon has an 8-year-old, and Mr. Camera Junkie Lewis has, I think he's 6 or 7, okay? Now this type of eating is important for children because it sets up their body for life, okay? So now these small kids, and Sly has a grandson that's, 2 years old or something. All right, these kids are being set up, okay, so that when they get older, they're going to go through puberty, and they're going to learn, I like that, and sex is born, okay? Now we're setting them up for sugar, and the waffles and the pancakes and the buttered toast. Have you ever had buttered toast with butter on it and sprinkling with just regular table sugar? Oh, and then try brown sugar. So you're setting up these kids for like that same sexual response that'll happen and when they hit puberty. You're training them from earlier to have that sugar response. So Dr. Barry, which is a different doctor, okay, he's got a 2-year-old and his wife is pregnant. He's a regular full medical doctor with a full medical practice, family practitioner. His wife that's pregnant is a registered nurse, and their baby, okay, will say, eat your meat, okay, because The meat is what's going to release the B vitamins, and that's a whole new topic, okay? So the first step is kind of like photography. You educate yourself, okay? If you don't educate yourself, you're going to get blown around by the wind, which is kind of like, which I don't want Lazuka, I don't want him to do that, okay? I want him to say, I decided such and such. And I will know that it's basically built on knowledge that he's building up inside of himself. Then he will be able to talk just like me. And he'll be able to share that with his sister and with his mother and with his dad. And he can kind of lead them into healthier so that everybody can be around for more years. And the number of years that we're here can be healthier years. Now, this doesn't make you bulletproof, okay? We're going to die. The Bible says it's appointed unto man to die once, okay? So we're going to die unless the rapture happens. So we got timeless truths. Just made a comment that's important too. Basic practice BMI, body mass index. That's where you pinch an inch, as they say, and you measure it, and that's your body index, okay? And some scales will do that for you automatically. I feel like it was a gift from above. It feels like instincts. Oh, no, I'm reading the wrong. That's Lazuka. Okay. Okay, it's a difficult thing to do, and lots of people don't like old school methods. All right, so Dr. Berry, and I've only listened to it once, so here's where I'm giving you the idea about educating yourself. That's why if I knew this better, okay, I could explain it better. But you take how many inches you are tall, and take how many inches you are. Oh, by the way, I got into the 41 inches. I started with 44. Okay, I've lost 20 pounds plus, but I've lost more inches. Guess what that means? That means I'm burning fat. By not eating sugar, the body is running. I'm talking. I'm excited. I could get all excited. This energy is coming from burning the fat. Okay? So I was 41 and a half or 41 and 3/4 this morning. I have like a cloth measuring tape. Okay? So here's the rule. Okay? The rule is measure how many inches you are tall. Measure how many inches you are here. Okay? Around the belly. Right at the belly button. Do it the same place every day. Not down low, not up high, right at the belly button. Okay? All right. Now you take the smaller number and divide it by the bigger number. And the optimum thing is you're supposed to be at 0.5 or under. And that beats any cholesterol number that you got going. Oh, your cholesterol is 300. That's bad. Here, let me give you some medications. What is this? Notice how it makes a cross? Okay, I just noticed that. All right, I'm a Christian guy, so, I'm not going to ask for forgiveness. It's just the way I think. Okay, so you take the bigger number. For me, it's how many inches I am taller. Okay, you take the smaller number, which is how many inches I am around at the belly button, all the way around. Okay, now take the smaller number, 1, 2, 3, and divide it by the bigger number, 5, 6, 7, and that'll give you a point something. You need to be at 0.50. All right, or lower. I'm at like 0.8. All right, so that's not good. So he said that is telling you, what your risk is of a heart attack or a stroke and this and that. In order to have a very low risk, you need to be actually lower in that number. Okay. All right, so we've had our little meeting here. And Dr. Charles just came here. He's driving to Miami now. Oh, now that the storm is over? I thought you were in Miami now. And I'm thinking, like, what's he doing during the storm? Okay. So God bless all of you guys. Thank you for coming here. And I tell you what, we'll meet next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Okay. Next Friday. God willing, and the bridge isn't up, as they say. Okay, so thank you everybody who's been here with me tonight. I love each and every one of you. Mark, I did see your comment. I didn't put it up on the screen. I love you, buddy. You're not being ignored. I think you're awesome, and thank you for being my friend. So that's it for our show for today. I will see you next week. Bye-bye. I'll leave the thing running for a minute or so you guys can say goodnight to each other, because I know a lot of you guys have gotten to be friends now. So I'll leave it live for a minute where the chit-chat, the comments will work. You can write what you want, but it's going to mute my mic when I go over to the music. So good night. I love you. You can say good night to each other, and bye-bye.
Just watched another Peter Gregg video. Something warm, human